What's up? Hello. Right, basically this is just a little mini vlog thing to help myself look back in the future and essentially remind myself what to focus on when I'm indoors. Currently shooting a W18 and this is the second one I've shot since the start back into indoor. I'm fairly happy with the way things are going on. I've learned a lot already, and without videoing yourself and talking and noting these things down, you're never going to be able to remember what you did. So a few things for me. That's the fairly standard group that I'm getting at the minute. Now, one thing that I am trying to work on is loading my hook, loading that entire thing as one unit onto the back and the bottom of my shoulder, the bottom of my scapula, so that I can hold it there, okay? I'm shooting 20 meters, I think. Whatever a WA18 is, I can't remember. 18 meters, that's the one. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ, my brain. And essentially, what I want to do is just go over what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and we'll finish off. We've got one end left to score, or two ends left to score, I think it is. And we'll get pulling these, and we shall get underway. So like I said, the main thing that I'm trying to work on is loading onto my scapula and opening up my chest. I've also noticed that I need to push my bow arm out a lot more than I am doing. So I'm just going to put you up here and go through what I have been doing. With the shots that are good, I have a deeper hook, surprisingly enough. I'm coming back to my standard anchor point a little bit back than it used to be. Not in the corner of the mouth, but back to pull this arm sort of back a little bit. And as I come up and load, I want to load and feel the pressure on the bottom of my scapula and load the weight onto that. This arm is coming up doing its normal thing, and as it both comes together, I'm dipping my back shoulder, dipping my shoulders down from the back instead of like this. I'm consciously dipping, keeping my chest open as I come up, and then pushing as I release. They're acting very weak, the arrows, bear shafts, so I've pretty much wound the width of the plunger in to just under 9, in between 7 to 8. Again, 18 meters. What I'm trying to do is get quite a deep set in my palm with my grip, and then come around as one unit with this arm and load it onto my shoulder. Up, around. Didn't feel good, and I also need to learn to come down when a shot doesn't feel great. So I'm not going to score this end because I'm just going to put it on camera as to what I'm actually doing right now. Set your hand, set your shoulder and your arm up, come up and across. The trend tonight is they're all going right. Now that I'm overthinking it, they're going right again. You were pulling back in before, and they're not doing that now. And the importance of opening up my chest and coming up and around rather than across, where I'm not getting a lot of chest structure. The importance is to come up and open up, and then align by opening your chest. I'm also putting quite a lot of pressure on my palm. I'm putting quite a lot of pressure into my fingers, and I need to stop doing that and just let the bow go, because I'm dragging it down with me. I mean, they're going fairly in the middle, but that's another thing that's going to hamper me if I'm talking too much, especially outdoors. Like that. I let the bow just go rather than trying to catch it, which I think I'm trying to do subconsciously. It's definitely a good feel to a shot, and you need to be able to come down if it doesn't feel right, the structure doesn't feel strong, and something doesn't feel right, whether your anchor's in the wrong place or just above, just below, touching something it shouldn't do, come down. There's nothing wrong with it. That was a bad shot. that felt like a bad shot. So I've shot all them. Let's go and have a look. So again here, the trend is that things seem to be aiming right. If I actually showed you the picture there. Things seem to be on the right hand side of things. I mean, I'll take that. I might just score that, to be honest, just because it's an okay end. You know, it's not the best thing in the world, but because in terms of the grouping beforehand, they were grouping quite tight. Hello. Whereas these two seem to have flung out, and things generally seem to be going to the right, which is the thing of today, really. These things going right. What I'm going to do now is I am going to turn the camera off and score my last end. Again, when I film, I'm usually working on things and form changes and stuff like that. Therefore, I don't like scoring when I'm changing things. This is not a serious competition. This is just me shooting at the club and no one's here. I just want to get a gist for where I am and score around, if and when I can, basically. Not that much time to sit there and dick about and score at the same time, like differently. So I'm going to get on with that last end and we'll see what happens. But again, it's just keeping that structure, loading the weight onto the bottom of my scapula. There is a point where I can feel it. My alignment, making sure the arrow is straight. My release, making sure that I'm not pinging out, I'm not doing something stupid. It's just a nice smooth release and a nice push forward with the bow arm, but not overly crazy that it's going to change the flight of the arrow. So we'll get on with it and we shall see what happens. Right, I am officially done. Ended up on a 5.23 for a WA18 indoor round. This guy here, the main synopsis of this really is that the main outcomes, should I say, of this particular shoot are that I started off pretty weak and then found my flow sort of onwards coming through the shoot. Started to feel where things were right and things were wrong. I said before that it's important to come down when things don't feel right, but at the same time, I think it's also beneficial for you to shoot a shot that doesn't feel right, just so that you know where it's going, because that will give you a reference then in your subconscious to then know what's going to happen if you don't come down, basically, if that makes sense. So if you feel odd, shoot it, see what happens. If you're not scoring, you're not in a competition, obviously, and then I'd say keep doing that fairly often, but then also practice coming down at the same time, because what you don't want to happen is you don't know what a bad shot feels like or where it's going to go, or expectations change or whatever, so at a competition. So what you want to do is to be able to get to the point where you know subconsciously what a bad shot will do, and then from there, that means that you can then know what a bad shot is going to feel like when you come up, but that also gives you more incentive to come down. So there we go. I'm going to add some bits and bobs of me shooting here and there within this video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. And until the next time, broke shaft out. See you later.